Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert, coming to you live with a Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. But I have a very special guest today with me, Christy Metcalf, who is here to talk about her success. Welcome, Christy.
Hi, Chala. So good to see you. Thank you.
Yes, I'm so excited to have first of all, a guest. And you know what? I forgot to tell my guest, bring something to drink. Do you have something to drink?
I do.
You're all over it. Yeah.
I
All right.
am.
So, Christy, tell us who you are, what you do, and who you help.
Absolutely. So my name is Christy Metcalf. I live in Dallas, Texas, and I have a company, CEO Learning Systems. It's about 21 years old, and I help entrepreneurs make money. I know that sounds big and broad, but I help primarily women who have struggled in learning how to make money, typically transition from corporate America into entrepreneurship and are uncomfortable selling and learning how to make money. And I teach them how to do that in a very concise way that's easy and non-salesy and very authentic and genuine.
I love that. And a lot of that is part of your background too, right? Tell us about your background.
It is. I actually started my career in sales and I sold manufacturing chemicals for about 10 years and then moved into training salespeople. So that whole sales background. And the reason that I am so passionate about helping women is because when I left corporate America to start my own consulting business, even with a sales background and teaching other people how to sell, I really struggled with doing it on my own. And I tend to believe that women are amazing salespeople. If they love a skincare product or a restaurant or a beauty product, they will tell the world. But when
Yeah.
it comes to selling themselves, they really struggle on how to do that because they think it sounds cheesy or sleazy or salesy. And so I come from a place that I felt the same way in the beginning. And I overcame that and realized that even in all those sales positions, ultimately I was selling myself. And that is what it comes down to when you have your own business. And that's why I love helping them learn how to do that.
Isn't that funny? I mean, all of us who are women, I mean, maybe not everyone, but I was in the same boat. Like I felt, and in fact, a few people did say I was too pushy, I was too salesy. There's so much shame around that, and I
Mm-hmm.
had to overcome not just my self-talk, but all of the critics around me, because a lot of women, as kind as some of them are struggling with this fear around selling, and they cut each other up without
Yeah.
meaning to or knowing that they are. And so you're struggling against yourself and then these other women in your network, and you're trying, like, what's too much, what's too little. So
Yeah.
there is so much need for what you're doing, Christy.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about, well, first of all, how did you hear about me?
I attended a women business enterprise meeting here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. And you were the speaker for the afternoon and you were doing a virtual session. And one of the areas that you talked about is how to pitch yourself, how to have that tagline and really make an impact so people understand what you do and how you help them concisely. And that is something that I had been struggling with. And so I volunteered at the meeting and you helped me. And then you offered this free strategy session. I think that's what you called it, a free strategy
Right.
session. And when we got on, it was clear that I was really sort of floundering and struggling with positioning myself well. And then we decided to work together, which was amazing.
Awesome. Well, look at the tagline, right? Look at the headline. Thank you. Well, you put in what you put in, so we'll talk about what you did as well. So uh, tell me what exactly was going on in the business at that time for you.
Yeah, so for 17 years, I worked with large B2B businesses, brands that we would recognize, and I did corporate consulting, executive development, and executive coaching. And then I sort of pivoted my business about 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, to working with women entrepreneurs and helping them make money. So in my mind, I think that that was a struggle to transfer one very successful B2B business into B2C. So I think I was struggling on that one. And I think what I appreciated was that you came in with this objectivity and clarity just around, okay, let's get rid of the drama. So that was appreciated. And so I was trying to sandwich both. I was trying to sandwich this B2B world and B2C world. And you basically cut through the clutter and said, you can't. You have to choose one in order to become very clear and very concise. And, even in the beginning of us working together, I was trying to focus on, do I go B2B or do I go B2C? And it was clear. I think I was I was concerned that there wasn't enough of a need out there. And through the course of doing the interviews and working with you over the course of 3 months, it became crystal clear that there were women out there suffering and not making the money that they could or they should, and there was a need. And I loved it because you came up with a title that I had just never thought of. And you said, you help entrepreneurs who have tried everything to make money and they're not. And that like just cut through it. And I don't know why in the course of 3.5 years, I had never thought of that, but you saw it from a different angle and you just like cut through it, right? They're creating courses or they're working with these large groups of 10,000 people where they never have access to the coach. And yet when I work with them, they have one-on-one attention and they make money over the course of 100 days or 6 months. And so really when you put that angle on it and we cut through, that's when the magic started happening.
Amazing. Look at that. And so now you did a lot. You were a great student. You did a lot. You did all the homework. You did it the
I did.
right way, and you had the right attitude all throughout. So what did you do, first of all? Like, what was the process? Take us through what were the process steps that you undertook.
Yeah, so from the very beginning, you gave me homework of sort of looking at the industries that I had leverage in. So I either had contacts or I had worked in those industries before and doing these interviews, basic interviews to try to find the need and then where I came in to the picture. And I did that, right? And I think I focused on 4 or 5 different industries.
Yeah.
And so one of them was this solopreneur female route. That was one of them.
Yeah.
And then the others were in the financial industry, the aerospace industry, banking industry. So I had all of these different industries. And I really dug in and did my homework like you asked me to do, strategy sessions, calls, really identifying needs, asking the right questions. And it was a process of elimination of where it really, through that homework, guided me to where I was supposed to be working and where it felt really solid and good. And then it once I focused on that and we really worked on the messaging and me doing the strategy sessions, asking them about their problems and what they would like to do, it just sort of like snowballed. I say it was a domino effect because I think I signed 3 or 4 clients within the last month of working with you.
Yeah.
So it went quickly.
It was unbelievable. So was there at any point something that was unusual, like uncomfortable for you that you had never done, that you didn't want to do? Or, was there any part of the process that was kind of unfamiliar and unattractive to you?
Well, you definitely had a different sales conversation than I had ever done. And I remember you saying, trust me, right? Because I think you could feel the hesitation.
Yeah.
And a strategy call led into what we would call a sales conversation, right? Where we identified. And that was very new for me, the way that you positioned it and walked through that. And I remember there was some reluctancy and mindset, just like, no, I can't do it this way. And yet you said, try it and trust me. And it was interesting that when I did, and it does take courage and confidence to do it, right? To try it a different way than you've ever done. Then I had results almost immediately trying it that way. So it really, I walked into it, I would say, with some resistance, but willingness to try. I love that you said I'm a good student.
Yes.
Willingness to try. And then literally it was back to back. Like I closed multiple deals doing it the way that you had said.
I mean, first of all, you teach the same thing.
Right.
So,
right.
And you've done it successfully for like decades. So for you to take on somebody else's model and for you to trust that makes you the exact coachable model student, right? You yourself coach people. What do you have? What have you learned that you have to teach them through that process of going through that fear yourself?
Well, I think when you're working with a coach, the biggest hurdle always, and we hate to hear it, but it truly is mindset, right? Yeah. And I think that when I started working with you, the fear of not getting the results trumped the fear of being uncomfortable and trying something new.
Yeah.
And I would say that probably you would say that with any client, and I would say it with any client, is that the willingness to try something different and new, you're not getting the results the way that you want to do it, or you have been doing it. So the fear of stepping out into the unknown and the willingness to just try it and see. And even I think I had 2 or 3 conversations that I did not close, right? They just weren't the right people, but the willingness to continue trying it until it works.
So you
Yeah.
didn't regress back to what
No.
you knew, which was comfortable. And it's fascinating. And this is for both your clients who are going to be watching this and for my clients who are watching this, is that I've had clients who have gone through the entire, in fact, sometimes a year program, a 6-month program. We've repositioned them. They've learned all these new things. But as soon as we stop working, they regress right back to their comfort zone. And they keep getting the same results that they've always gotten, because comfort is so, it's the enemy of growth,
It is.
right?
It is.
So,
It's powerful. It's powerful.
yeah,
Even when I work with clients, and they have success while we're working together, and then they'll contact me and they'll say, "Oh, but it's not working anymore. Like it
yeah,
just stopped working." And I'll say, "Well, are you doing the things that I taught you to do?" And the answer is always no. Right?
yeah,
So, just like with you, it was something new, it was something different, but I had to be willing to try it and
yeah,
not have success immediately. The fact that, okay, well, let's try it again and not assume that it's the wrong process, but I just
right.
need practice in doing the process.
Perfect. Yeah. And because you are who you are, and you do what you do, you have that awareness.
Yeah,
So this is, for those of you watching, now you will maybe have the awareness. Of course, your coach will always point it out to you what's happening, but until you internalize it and go, okay, this is in my mind, what's happening with my mindset and my self-talk, and I have to just keep persevering and can't go back to my, they call it the failure signature, as you quit
that's right.
everything in the same exact pattern, so that you don't, this time you don't quit. That's why you have a coach. That's why you persevere through to the next step. Okay, amazing. So what were the results? Tell us about all the successes.
Yeah, so I have to say, in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is an investment," and I wanted to see results immediately. And then I had to calm myself in that the process, you do the process the way the process is meant to be, and it will work itself out. And then, like I said, it was like the domino effect. Once it started working, it worked quickly. And so I made $45,000 in the
Yay,
3 months of working with you,
amazing.
and it really was, three of those were not even on the radar when we started working together. A couple of them I had just met and been introduced to right before we started working together, and they closed in our process. But three of them I did not know at all.
Mm,
And it was literally, I will say it was the sales process, but it was also just approaching it from a different view. So one of the areas that you gave me to focus on was doing executive roundtables. And
mm,
a client, so I held this executive roundtable where these women came together, and the reason I did it was I have an idea and a theory that women do not talk about money. So they show
mm,
up to networking events and they show up like this successful business owner, but we don't talk about money. We don't talk about how we're not making money or how we're working harder than we did, for a corporate job, and we're not getting the rewards and the benefits from it. And so I
mm.
held this roundtable where 7 people showed up, and I just threw out the conversation of money and why we don't talk about it. And it was such a good discussion because one person in the group was making quite a bit of money, but she wanted to elevate to a different
Right.
number, and fear was holding her back. But the others were not making the money that they could or they should. And, the statistic that I share with them is that 80%, so 1 out of every 3 women, are not making more than $100,000 in business. And
Wow.
nobody starts a business to work harder and not make money. So
Wow.
when I threw that number out there, then that opened the conversation and the talk. And I will say 2 people scheduled immediately from that
Woo,
conversation, from that roundtable. One
woo.
closed as soon as we got on the call. She
Mm,
closed because she realized that she needed help. And another one I'm having this week. So it was, when I say a domino effect, it literally was a domino effect. But you planted that seed, you gave me that idea, you showed me a different way of doing it rather than how I had been finding potential clients. It was
yeah.
beautiful. It was brilliant.
Well, so one of the successes that you have is because you implement, and you implement quickly. So you don't bother about, oh my God, I've never done it. Oh my gosh, how am I going to do it? This is so scary for me. I have to perfect it. Let's you and I like iron out the exact, steps and like the minutia. You take it. You're a fast implementer, and you don't need much. You just took the idea. I don't even know if we actually wrote the presentation together.
We didn't write the
I think you did it.
presentation together. Yeah, as a matter of fact, we talked about the roundtable on like a Tuesday, and I held it the following Thursday. Like it was
Yeah.
quick.
Fast implementer. Yeah.
It was
And
a fast
typically it's
implementation.
crazy because we usually we usually hold them for C-suites. We have to give it a 6 week closing window. But because yours are smaller businesses, you can literally hold one every other week.
Mhm.
And that could be
Yes.
your
I've
whole
already
funnel.
planned the next one.
There you go. That could
Yep.
be your entire funnel, and the whole topic was your idea. The who you're gonna invite, where you're gonna hold it, like all that the logistic stuff. You did it, and so you did it in person, brick and mortar, not online, right?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
it was amazing too, in that, when you think about it, I think that women tend to work better in smaller groups. So it was
Mm,
very intimate, which you had suggested. And it allowed this space where they felt very safe to talk about their money issues and the trials and tribulations. And I know that there are women sitting in it who have been burned in the past by investments, by coaches, by products, courses that they've taken. And so I have no doubt that they'll remain in touch with me, and it wasn't the right time, but there
mm,
will be a right time,
yeah,
right? Because I received thank you notes and emails, just like, thank you for opening this space. It really opened my eyes to other women who are struggling in the same space.
wow.
And it showed me that while we need these larger networking groups, that really when it comes to money conversations, they're not done in these large, you know, networking style 100 people events. It happens in these very small, intimate, where you tell your own story and then you open the floor for what they're dealing with.
That's amazing. What advice do you have for our listeners, Christy?
Well, I would say, and even as a coach, and I've been doing this business for 21 years, that I
Mm,
think that we all need help at various stages of our business, right? And I knew what the problem was. I had an idea, and when we talked and we had our conversation, it was clear that I needed help in this area of positioning. And I say that because I'm not a marketer. I don't have a marketing background, and
mhm.
yet marketing is so critical and important to a business, of attracting new clients into your business. And so you filled a space that I am not an expert in, and that I knew was holding my business back. And I said yes. But I would caution them and just encourage them that if there is a piece that's not working in your business, then look for the help and the resources. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to invest in you and your business. That's my big
That's
takeaway.
yeah.
And just because you're investing today doesn't mean that you won't invest in something different in the future, but it's, where do I need to invest right now to scale to the next step?
Yeah. It's having the awareness. I love what you're saying. It's having the awareness of figuring out what is the missing piece that's holding you back today,
Yeah.
whether that's mindset, like what you teach, whether that's marketing, whether that's, positioning or messaging, whatever it is, or it could be
Right.
operational, it could be manpower, whatever that one piece is, you have to have the expertise to figure that out and then get the right kind of specialized help rather than just a one solution fits all kind of thing, which really never solves any of the bigger
That's right.
problems. And then, the other piece is like invest in it. And for the people who are burned, who have invested and gotten nothing back, what is the option? Do they just stop? Do they
Yeah.
retire? Do they try to coast on their own and try to figure it out on their own? That's not going to help. If they could figure it out on their own, they already would have the goals that they're trying to reach. So
Right.
there's some really key things that, milestones of getting to the next level for sure.
Well, and I say we live in a very DIY society, right? There is every YouTube video out there, but there is something, even for me who work with business owners, there is something about the weekly accountability, the tracking, the somebody asking different questions in your business that you either aren't aware to ask or you would never think of, right? It's not even on your radar. And I think that I think asking for help is probably the greatest strength that a business owner has. When you think about big companies that we do business with every day, they're constantly investing in, bless you,
Thank
they're
you.
constantly investing in marketing,
Sorry, something about go
in
ahead.
positioning, in technology, in product development. And so if you are going to be in business and sustain being in business, then investing in it, both yourself and
Yeah,
just in your business, is a
exactly.
part of doing business.
Exactly. This is not a hobby. This is not an
Mm-mm.
emotional decision. You are the CEO of your company. And how would a CEO make a decision to invest based on ROI and growth? It's
That's
not
right.
about, what your partner is going to say. It's not about whether your children can do without whatever, extracurriculars that you have to pay for. It's about deciding to grow your business like a CEO and making that decision based on ROI and finding what is missing and then addressing that. So thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Christy. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for all the help, for the support over the last 3 months. I thoroughly enjoyed working with you, and I can't thank you enough.
I just want the universe to hear, like, this is the kind of client I want more of, like this. The universe, please send those to me and to
Thank
you
you.
and to
And to
you.
me. Yeah,
You
and
want
to
that
me
kind
too.
of clients, believe me. Thank you so much, Christy. Big hugs.
Thank you.